What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the channel. Today we are going over my favorite knives from 2024 that fall between $100 and $200. Now, a couple of notes just so you have some context. I was initially going to do 100 to 150, but there are knives that would be on this list, but they're not available right now. And there are knives that I handled this year that just didn't come out this year. So I was fairly limited from 100 to 150, so I expanded it to 200, but I also increased the list to 15. So we're getting more knives in a wider price range. Quite the list for you. I will have all these knives linked down below in the description in the order that you see them. That way they are very easy to find. I will be doing a video here over the next week or two that does consist of knives that may or may not be available in all kinds of different price points. We're going to kick this video off with the Fintizo Cobra here. Now, this is a play off of a budget knife they put out previously in 2024. And this is their first shot at a more premium ended knife. These are going to be around $140. We're looking at S35 VN steel. They have coated and uncoated versions. You have a beautiful leaf-shaped drop point blade, and then we have a large cutout and a flipper tab for the deployment. The sharpening choil is not too shabby at all. We are looking at very nice carbon fiber for our handle material, and we do have titanium hardware, backspacer, and a lower mounted titanium clip that is going to give you good access to this knife and pulling it out of the pocket as well as putting it back in. We have a nice lanyard hole here. The button plunge lock is done very well, and the action is really nice on this knife. I think the price point for what you're getting here is very high value from Fintizo. Next up, we're looking at the Big Haas. This came out early in 2024. This is the Off Grid Knives Stinger XL, and it is the spear point version. We're looking at 154 cm steel, beautiful spear point blade, and then this is a gray wash coating. They also have a completely blacked out version. Really nice sharpening choil. Off Grid does a great job with their 154 cm. They deal with Taiwanese manufacturing as well as Best Tech, so their knives are going to be very high quality no matter which price point you're going to be in. This is going to fall right in the middle of their knives and their catalog, right about $100 to $110 depending on when and where. We are looking at G10, and we do have a really nice deep carry clip. It is short, it is minimal, and it has great retention. It's also recessed into the scales along with the screws, and they do give you the option to mount this lefty, and they include a filler tab. If you're looking for a larger folder from a dependable company that is going to provide high quality materials, I would definitely take a look at Off Grid Knives. So if you're looking for a large, more premium knife that is crazy as hell, I would take a look at the Kaiser Huntsman. These are very affordable right now. I think they're coming in right around 150. I think they're on a sale right now. We're looking at Kaiser's S35 VN, which is done very, very well. We have this crazy recurved harpoon tanto dual ground blade. We have a cutout, and we have thumb studs for the deployment there. This is a full titanium frame lock. We have some beautiful carbon fiber as our inlays, and we have this protruding backspacer, and it is extremely comfortable. I carried this knife for weeks and weeks just because it really did cut whatever the hell I wanted. And, you know, if you know how to use something like this in varying grips, it's going to do just fine. It's not the most ideal by any means, but something like this is still going to cut and poke and slice very nicely, and the action is just ridiculous. Detent is perfect, and the closing action is buttery smooth. Kaiser Huntsman, if you're looking for something crazy for your collection, is definitely worth taking a look at. If you're getting enjoyment out of today's video and you're new to the channel, make sure you are subscribed here because I release daily content just like this. And as always, make sure you let us know what you're carrying in your pockets today down in the comments. We're going to pick up with number 12. This is the Lake Champlain from Traditional Pocket Knives. This is a slip joint, and these are fantastic. Coming out of QSP, TPK or Traditional Pocket Knives is a great retailer, and he's got a ton of exclusives over there, and his own knives are considered exclusive. And this is the largest slip joint that he has done that I'm aware of anyway. I know he had another one come out, but I don't think it's quite as large as this one is here. He did several different blade shapes and several different variations that you could choose for inlays. This is the natural micarta. They are going to be coming in M390, and we have a nice satin finish. This is the sheep's foot version, and we have this nice long pull here, and the walk and talk is perfect. I think it's, based on my inexperience, I would say like a 7, which is, to me, just perfect. It's not too strong and it's not too weak. I think even people that maybe don't have quite enough strength in their hand, or they don't have the strength they once did, this is one that you'll be able to just really easily be able to pull that blade out, and you have nice strong springs in there, full titanium handle, just a beautiful knife and a great size. These come in at a fantastic price as well. I'll have Traditional Pocket Knives linked down below in the description, as well as a coupon code. So not only is it tough to look back on the entire year of all the videos, all the knives I handled, make sure you still have all those knives, because some get traded, sold, given away, what have you. Also, the fact that you try as a creator to appeal to as many people as you can. So you have smaller knives, you have slip joints, you have crazy knives, tactical knives, utility driven knives. So coming up with that and actually putting that much thought into the video actually takes quite a bit of time, and today I really tried to appeal to as many people as I could in a wide price range. So I wanted to bring out a fifth pocket or secondary style knife. This is the Artisan Clio right here, and this is probably my fifth pocket knife of the year right here. It is just so good. As a smaller knife, I wear an XL glove and I can get a full grip on this thing due to that nice generous choil. We are looking at a modified sheep's foot style blade, and these came in S90V. Beautiful titanium milled clip and textured titanium handles. My only knock on this knife was the clip was overly tight, but I bent it out a little bit and relieved a little bit of that tension, and it is still a little tight and could be bent much more, but that was my only knock. And it holding on really tightly isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially you're not going to be buying this to take to your trades job and be wearing with your Carhartts. That's more of a secondary gentleman style knife. But if you're looking for a more premium ended secondary fifth pocket gents knife, the Artisan Clio is a great option. Next up, we have the Miguron Ecri. Excuse me, I'm very sick. Miguron Ecri. This is another great gentleman style knife. Going to be coming in M390. I believe they're made in 20 CV now, but either which way, M390, 20 CV, apples to apples there. We have a beautiful modified sheep's foot blade, and it has a very nice satin finish on it. We are looking at a cutout and a front flipper for the deployment. We have these micro milled titanium handles that have a slight contour to them, a milled tie backspacer, and a really well done milled titanium clip. The action is on point. Nice sharpening choil with this thing, and just a very nice gentleman style user here. We have an anodized pivot collar on the lock side. Great access to the lock bar as well, and very, very solid lockup. That is the Migron Ecri. Now, this one might have an asterisk next to it, and if it looks good to you, probably should hop onto it. But as of recording this, this is coming in at $50 off. And so that takes this down to $199 and just makes our $200 cutoff. The Tuya Voodoo here, this thing is crazy as hell. Now, we are looking at this is S90V and a nice Wharncliffe blade. Cutout for deployment, large choil, and we have orange peel contoured titanium handles, titanium backspacer, and a milled titanium clip. The detent is really, really solid on this knife. Great access to the lock bar as well. Going to be right hand carry only. We do have a lanyard hole for the lanyard fans, but if you're looking for more of a premium ended utility style knife, for $200, S90V and Tuya's build quality, that is an extremely solid value. I always get the Voodoo and the Shocker mixed up. That one's M390, this one's S90V, and I would much prefer the S90V. So this setup right here, that flare going to the butt end, it makes this thing very comfortable, and you have several grips that you can use this knife in, and it's just very versatile. You have great edge retention out of S90V, and that is a very good blade shape for everyday carry type tasks and utility style work. Now, this next knife I really beat on. This is the Monster Glideman, and this could be a little higher if I had more experience, more time with Monster, and they will be having new designs coming out in 2025, so I'm very interested to check them out. I have checked out 4 of their knives, and all 4 of them have been home runs, and this knife is not going to be any different. We are looking at M390 for the blade steel. We have a stonewashed modified drop point style blade. Does have a nice stonewash finish to it and really does take wear and tear very good. When I say I beat on this thing, I beat on it pretty good. You have a large cutout. We have a nice sized choil there. I wouldn't call it quite a finger choil, but you could use it as a finger choil. We have a flipper tab there. The detent is very, very nice on this knife. More of a mid-sized knife, but it's got some heft to it. We are looking at blue titanium handles here. We have a milled tie clip and a milled tie backspacer. Very comfortable, good access to that lock bar, and the closing action is nice and smooth, very clean and controlled, just a couple of shakes. Nice snappy detent. I really look forward to what Monster has for us in 2025. The first couple, I was like, yeah, they're good. Can they keep it up? And then I checked out a couple more, and they have been very surprising. They're definitely a company to keep your eye on in 2025. Next up, this one has to be on the list. I know it's still part of the Militao family, but it is the Mini Militao from Kaiser, and this easily makes the list. We're looking at S45VN on this particular model. Very nice drop point style blade. We have the Superman cutout, and we have a front flipper. Nice snappy detent. We have a full titanium handle that has anodizing done, and we're looking at zirconium for the inlays. To score this knife under $200, and right now it's well under $200, is a fantastic price point. The only real knock on this knife is the lack of sharpening choil, and I know there's been no option for left-hand carry on the Militao. That's kind of another tick against it, but if you're lefty, get over it on this one. And if you're righty, you have nothing to worry about. This is an extremely good value from Kaiser, which they routinely do knife in and knife out. Now, this one might have an asterisk next to it, but the Vostedon Kilo has to make this list. Came out in two different variations, from 130 to 170. They had 154. They did LMAX. This is going to be the LMAX version. Textured aluminum handles. Very nice modified sheep's foot style blade. We are looking at their V-Anchor Vanker style lock, which is a pivot based button lock, and it is a very durable lock and very fun. You get a very nice deployment with it. You have a cutout front and rear flipper with this knife, and if I can get out of my own way, it is a nice snappy action as well. Cutout is done very well. We are looking at a deep carry right hand only pocket clip on this particular model. They have versions with and without, so you'll just have to, as a lefty, make sure you're getting one that has that option. But right now, I think these are out of stock, but they will be back in stock very shortly, hopefully. And sorry about that one. These were in stock, but then went back out. The Concept Cassowary here, or Cassowary, this is about the time I handled this from Concept, and I was like, yeah, Concept is starting to put their foot on the gas. And every knife that I handled from them after this was just exceptional. And their most recent release, the Toth, or whatever, the Toth, that thing is amazing and will most certainly be on the next list. But this one meets our price point that we're looking at, the Cassowary here. And we are looking at S35 VN steel. We have a satin finish drop point blade. Flipper tab for deployment. Very, very snappy and very well done with that flipper. We have great access to the lock bar there with a chamfer, and we are looking at carbon fiber here for our handle material. They did so many different variations of this knife that you have just a plethora of different materials you can choose from. And I think they even did this one in a really crazy version. But this is probably my favorite one right here with this. I think it's 80s camo carbon or something like that. I'll have this exact one linked down below. Next up, we have the Tuya Rodham Jack. Now, this one can be pre-ordered. I think there are a few left. This was a limited run, but they are taking orders for back orders, and I had to put this on the list. I love the combination of traditional and modern here, and not only that, but these are really well done from Tuya. They also are coming in under $200, which is insane. We're looking at M390 with a really nice satin finish. They did this drop point style blade, and then they did a Bowie style blade. They did one without a nail nick, and they did one with. This is the version with, and they also did a jigged version. This is the Sagaha pattern here, and it's really well done. It's milled into the tie, plus there's an orange peel tie bolster, kind of a faux bolster look here. Titanium backspacer and a really nice clean milled titanium clip. To get all this for under $200, if you really like a traditional aesthetic but want the modern touches, this thing is definitely going to fit the bill. And it surprised the hell out of me when I flicked this for the first time. I didn't think it would work at all, this flipper tab, but it is tuned so well that even if you just lackadaisically push on it, it still fires out of there. So very well done from Tuya and the designer over there. That is the Tuya Rodham Jack. Next up, we have the Vosted Mini Psyop coming in at number 3. This thing is awesome, especially if you like a mid-size style knife. I want them to do this in a full-size knife as well with the crossbar lock. We're looking at LMAX steel here. Nice drop point blade and a great cutout there, or a great sharpening choil there for sharpening, and a very good crossbar lock action from Vastid. They did these in carbon fiber and micarta. We are looking at a nice minimal deep carry clip there, and that is going to be reversible. Vastid does a great job on their LMAX. This thing is thin, slicey, pokey, premium feeling, and coming in at a very good price point, right around 150, which is really impressive. I think they're even under 150. I think 130 to 150 depending on which variation you get. And coming in at number 2, we have the Concept Wyme. And I said when I handled this knife, this might make it to the end of the year as one of my favorite concepts, one of my favorite knives, and it sure as hell did. And guess what? This is a Jonathan Styles design as well. And you might be saying, well, what does he design? He also designed the Militao and much more. But this is just a fantastic design from Jonathan Styles, and Concept just absolutely crushed this thing. We are looking at a modified sheep's foot style blade coming in S35VN, kind of a harpoon modified sheep's foot. We have a pretty decent sharpening choil there and thumb studs for deployment. Great access to the lock bar. Really beautiful action. They did a bunch of different variations of this. This is the titanium with carbon fiber inlaid version. We are looking at a tie back spacer and a really nice milled titanium clip that is recessed into the titanium there. Just a very nice design, kind of a gentleman's utility knife in my opinion. The Concept Wyme, definitely a number 2 pick for the year for me. And next up, we have number 1, my under $150 knife of the year. And I would take this knife over every knife on the entire list. That's why it's number 1. $100 to $200, I'd take this knife all day long. This is the Katuo Buckhorn carbon knives, and they collabed on this. It is just a brilliant knife. And after I fell in love with this, I started to look into it a little more, and I found out this won some Knife of the Year awards at some knife shows. So I think Blade Show, it won Knife of the Year, or it won something. And I was like, oh, well, that just solidifies, how damn good this thing is. But I didn't know that until after I fell in love with it. But on this version, we're looking at 14C28N, and it is done really well. I have carried and used the hell out of this thing. Still on the original edge from the factory so far. And we have a nice coated finish, PVD. They did uncoated versions as well. This is the contoured and textured aluminum version. They did this in a more premium version with titanium and M390, but at 150, this thing is an absolute home run. We have a nice full-length back spacer in there, and at 150, you might be thinking that might be a little much, but I'm telling you, it really is not. This thing is so well built, so well done. It is extremely comfortable, very intricate with the design details, and it's just so comfortable in hand. You have the bullet casing effect there with the pivot. We are also looking at dual thumb studs and a rear flipper tab for the deployment. The action is out of this world good. You have those stepped thumb studs that are kind of slanted, and they just work extremely well. Great knife from Ken Onion, Carbon, and Katuo. That is my $150 knife of the year. You guys will have to let me know, what do you think? What was your favorite knife from the list? And let me know what some of your favorite knives from the entire year was. I love hearing from you guys. Price point doesn't matter. Let me know what your favorite knives were from the year. If nothing else, let me know what you carried in your pockets today. Either way, love hearing from you. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. That'll help push this video out there to more people so they can check it out as well. If you are new here, I release daily knife and EDC content just like this. So make sure you do subscribe, ring the bell. That'll notify you anytime I release new content. I'll put a couple of new videos up on your screen. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching. I will catch you on the next one.